Oh, Lord, this is gonna be fun. Well, maybe for you guys, but probably not for me. So, hey, we're going into an Apocalypse Ravi Navy Captain Landy and a Unbound Knight Arowell. Let's just give it a try and see if we deal enough damage to say, hey, fuck you, Navy Captain Landy. Hey, fuck you, Navy Captain Landy. So, indeed we did. So, I'm rocking Auxiliary Lots and Arunka, and also on Imprint with Auxiliary Lots is the extra attack that he's giving for the top and the frontline unit. So, thankfully for us, that along with an attack buff on an Arunka gives a metric shitload of attack. And fortunately for us, the Navy Captain Landy wasn't rocking really any form of defense at all, even though it was protected by an escort Arowell. Yeah, you'll still really kind of bypass those defenses and you'll really destroy them. Case in point right here, 37,000 damage. That's mighty sexy, if I do say so myself. And also, crit resist is a meme. Don't you just love how every time you either see crit resist, it like almost never works on both the enemy side and on your own? And I was also very surprised I was able to kill that Ravi right then and there. On to the next fight. So, let's go on ahead and just get this out of the way right now. I was a little late getting home, and all of the big towers were already dead. So I had to make do and find some small towers. In my finding of small towers, I happened to see this Adventurer Raz, a Choux, and a Spector Tenebria. So I was looking at that, I was like, well, there could be a lot of wild cards in this, because I was wanting to like throw Straze at this, but then it's just like, well, who's he going to kill? Is he going to kill like a Raz, or is he going to kill Choux? And then it's just like, fuck this shit. I'm just going to go ahead and get Last Rider Krau, throw him on there, throw on 2 green units, one for damage mitigation with Aureus, and then another one for healing with Roana. Then this way, any and all dual attacks that are going to happen that Raz is going to do, any and all extra counter attacks that the Choux is going to do, hey, cool, that'll just heal us to full. The Choux will always go into Last Rider Krau. And sure, I like kind of was over hyper focusing on just like the Choux itself, because then Raz is going to go into your green units, and then Spector and Tenebria will also go into Krau. So hey, that's at least like 2 good units that are going to go into him, as well as occasional AoE attacks as well. So you should be seeing that S3 cool down quite a bit. Now, case in point, pretty much, we've already thrown out one, like, mobile weapon Siegfried. Did a lot of damage, because, straight up, this guy also did a pretty cardinal sin. If you're going to use Adventurer Raz, especially on defense, you gotta make sure you always have at least 1 unit in the back, because if you're not going to do that, you're just straight up not using one of his runes. Where it's like, if the person in the back row takes more than 50% damage, then they gain like this really, really big thick-ass barrier. And if there's nobody in the back row, nobody gets it. So, you know, like that's one thing that you should always keep in mind if you are ever going to use Raz. And also, if you're going to use a defense like this, I mean, I'm sorry to be that guy, but yeah, the Choux is on Edward Automail, the Adventurer Raz is on a PvE artifact, not even Aureus, and the Spector Tenebria is on Tagahels, something that literally does nothing on defense. But either way, we were able to power through that. Thanks, Yulha! Going ahead and mock me mercilessly with your comments. Yay! So, now on to another wonderful fun match, which is another fairly interesting defense that I don't think I've ever seen, but hey, it's still got a ran in Summertime Iseria. Hey look, Summertime Iseria is already dead. So, if you don't have a lot of bulk on a Summertime Iseria, you're more than likely going to get absolutely nuked by a Celine on turn fucking 1. Which, case in point, is exactly what happened. And then also, we happen to get a nice little counterattack there from Politis, as well as just, you know, the effects of Politis herself. We get rid of that skill null, bam. And now the only one left is Lidica. Bye, Lidica. So, Taeyou is actually a really cool unit to use in Iran, but unfortunately he's not really that useful. It just kind of works here because we're gear gapping. But either way, on to the next fight here. You're going to see some next level weird shit here in a bit. If anything, you've probably already seen the first weird thing in general. Wait a minute, that's a Lethe. That is slow as shit. Well, don't worry. It'll come back and then we'll see it again in just a minute. But we're going into a Maid Chloe, and then also a Senya, and then a Lethe. Now, you don't really see Maid Chloe on defense much anymore, mainly because, like, Extinction is just next level retarded, and there's not a lot of things you can really do about it. But go ahead and check this out. Y'all see what I see? You may not have seen that, but that was an injury Lethe. Yes, I have injury on my Midnight Gala Lilias right now. So first things first, we'll go ahead and we'll address this elephant in the room. Don't build your Lethe on injury. I know it's like a very interesting idea to do that or to think about that, but it just doesn't work. Lethe must be built fast, and she must be built with lots and lots of HP. The reason as to why is because she doesn't stack Omen unless it's her turn. So counterattacks or extra attacks and additional attacks, dual attacks, all that shit, that does nothing for you on Lethe. She also has next level fucking terrible base damage. All of the big damage that Lethe does is on Call of the Abyss. So, like, that's just one thing you should probably keep aware of if you were going to do an injury shenanigans or do something, have an injury unit with Lethe. But either way, not really my place to say, hey, interesting idea, man, but, like, yeah, that injury set really did nothing for you. If anything, it hurts you more than anything, because I was going into this with Shuna as a means of, oh, what if this thing's really fast and I need something to, like, you know, tank that hit? That's what Shuna's there for. She'll tank that hit beautifully. Midnight Gala Lilias does a metric fucking shitload of damage, even if it is the S3 or the S1, so we just kind of let her do all the damage, and Shazam, we're already on round 3. So here, I was like, well, let's see. We have 2 big HP scaling units, but I'm willing to put my money that when Straze's turn hits on this very next turn, it's going to kill that Yulha instead of the Choux. Now, let's see if I was correct in my gamble, because I'm just assuming, hey, the Yulha's going to be tanking a lot of the hits, and then she's also possibly going to be, you know, the big bulky unit that's going to come back and do big damage with the S3. And Shazam, I was correct. 41,000 damage. That was like a pretty typical 27,000 like HP Yulha. The reason why I had Lethe with me was straight up if I wasn't able to actually kill her for whatever reason, and she had Holy Sack, and then she would come back and attack, she wouldn't kill my Lethe. She would just do a lot of damage. And then, because I've already taken a lot of turns in succession, we've done a lot of Omen stacks on the Choux. We'll go ahead and finish her off here. Shazam, now she's dead. Now the only unit left that could possibly still kill a unit is Researcher Carrot. Now Researcher Carrot could kill Straze right here, but honestly, I don't really care, because one, she's only going to be focused on going into Destina because of element advantage, and I just didn't really see any reason to actually use Destina's S3 right then and there. I could have, and it was also a neat little experiment of, sure, you see the burn debuff was gone on Straze, I still didn't get my Benimaru Taichi attack up because there was a burn on him on his turn. So that's something good to remember for the future. Now, here is a team where straight up the initial goal was to test Moon Bunny Dominiel into Lionheart Senya shenanigans, because I was desperately trying to get a 3% dual attack to happen at any one moment just to see how well we would be able to weather this horseshit and then just punish the team accordingly if you ever see a Lionheart on defense. Unfortunately, that does not ever fucking happen. It's like we get no dual attacks of any kind throughout the entire fight. Kind of sucks, because that was the whole point. That's what I was trying to do. So what I'm basically doing here is I'm just slowly biding my time until I get my Devil's Descent up, and then I'm just going to go into the AOL, and then I'm going to go into the Destina, and then I'm going to go into the Lionheart Senya. So here I get a first S3 from the Lionheart. This is her with no defense buff, and she does a fairly decent amount of damage. Now, this damage was it was actually kind of scary, because it went into my Moon Bunny Dominiel, did like 9k damage, and this is also a Draco Plate Lionheart, so she did at least decent damage, but I'm willing to bet if she did have def buff, I really wouldn't be that scared. I don't think I should be scared of that, just because she's not going to double her damage, she's just going to gain some more damage to it. But either way, I might consider using a scene kind of like that to fight Lionheart Sirmia in the future. I just don't know yet, because one, this was the whole point of this was to test it, to see like how effective it would be, and lo and behold, we didn't get any dual attacks of any kind to actually really test it. Because Lionheart can't really make her damage work on her own until, you know, a legendary 3% comes through, and if that doesn't happen, then she has to rely on her team to give def buff. To which case, I guess you could say, like, Ocean Breeze Lilica, if she was on this team, I could really test this much more effectively in that case. But, of course, because she wasn't there and we're dealing with a Destina, and if I'm dealing with a Destina on defense, I have no reason not to use Dark Corvus, because, hey, Extinction is just so LOL hilarious. And now we're left with pretty much just Lionheart Sirmia at the end. So you could pretty much say, like, I'm really fucking with this team right now. But, like, honest to God, I wasn't fucking with the team. I was really doing testing. And it just straight up didn't happen. Like, and then at one point, as well, I was able to hit this Destina with a sleep from my Moon Bunny Dominiel. I was extremely surprised whenever I saw that. It was just like, okay, cool. You have 0 effect res on your Destina? Oh, okay. It's a, you know what, Cotton. It's a really cool idea. Let's see if it pays off for him. Holy shit! And ladies and gentlemen, that was the Guild War. Yay! There really wasn't much to talk about whenever it came to this fight, because I was gear gapping a lot of these fights. Yeah, sure, it was probably my fault, because I was just trying to find some towers to hit, because I got onto this really late. But hey, I was trying to actually run a few tests, see if I can make something work, because I don't really use Last Rider Krau all that often, but like, hey, he's a lot of fun to use if you can properly manipulate people to go into him, if you can manipulate like AoE attacks going into you. I almost never use Taeyou, and I straight up, this is where like I really do think Taeyou really kind of does deserve a buff, because he's so close to actually being able to like properly punish things like Ran. Because, like, honestly, you could really just do one thing to him. If he was like, oh, hey, cool, if Taeyou is enraged, then he cannot be debuffed or some shit. Basically, give him demon mode from Rem, except, like, don't make him do, like, additional attack horse shit like Rem does. But then at the same time, like, the reason why Rem is so crazy with demon mode is because she also has a def break on her S1, and she fucking bypasses effect res. But, like, I don't know, man. Just something small like that could, like, really help Taeyou out, especially in the whole point of fighting Ran, because Ran is a fucker. Like, fuck everything about Ran. But, yeah, other than that, like, nothing really too terribly special was going on in this Guild War. I hope you guys rather enjoyed that. I certainly had a lot of fun picking music and having fun editing it. But in other news, I did want to go ahead and say I really do want to thank everybody who has been around since either the beginning, been around from a really long time, anybody who has subbed, just people who've been around for a while. I really do greatly appreciate you being around and watching my videos. I also greatly appreciate any and all comments that you leave. I really appreciate like the strategies that some of y'all have posted as well, because I just really do like to read them and think about them. And if you ever have any questions, like, yeah, please feel free to like throw questions at me as well. It just gives me something to talk to somebody about, and it always does make me happy. Just because people were watching the stuff that I've made, and people actually kind of like the things that I do, and I do greatly appreciate that. It does make me really happy. And I'm very appreciative of finally hitting 1,000 subs. I never thought in a million years I would even get this far. Like, I really never thought I would. Very big thanks to I'm Sue for putting me on that little podcast thing that he did where we talked about Guild War. It was one of the things that really helped bring a lot of other people to the channel, and I greatly appreciate the extra subs that he gave. But either way, guys, if you like this video, go on ahead and leave me a like. It does a lot for me. Makes me feel good. And if you want to see more of my content, go on ahead and hit subscribe. See ya. Later.